Welcome to the SaaS Backwards Podcast, where we reverse engineer the success of fast-growing SaaS firms and explore strategies CMOs and CEOs are using to drive their businesses forward.
Welcome to SaaS Backwards, a podcast that helps SaaS CEOs and CMOs to accelerate growth and enhance profitability. Our guest today is Juan Jaysingh, founder and CEO at Zingtree, an AI-enabled customer experience automation platform that helps B2C enterprises automate actions, self-service, and agent effectiveness. Hey, Juan, welcome to the podcast.
Again, thanks for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I'm excited to record your episode. Just want to ask you before we get into the conversation itself, could you please tell us a little bit about your background and more about your company, Zingtree?
Sure. My name is Juan Jaysingh. I'm the CEO of Zingtree. I was born in Chennai, India, and found my way to the US when I was 13 years old. I came by myself, but I was able to meet a lot of great people, found a new family, started my American dream, had a passion for tennis that gave me an opportunity to get a college scholarship to play tennis in college, and then got into tech. So I've been fortunate, living the American dream, became a US citizen 5-6 years ago. This is my third startup at Zingtree, and I'm excited to be here and share more about what we do here at Zingtree.
Well, now, you didn't share all that playing tennis in college stuff when we started out.
I just wanted to hustle with you, you know?
So was this Division 1 or Division 3?
I played D1.
All right, so we're not playing tennis together.
We should definitely play for money.
Here's what we ought to do. You should come east and play in my member guest. You can be my ringer. How's that?
I love that. Love that. It's always fun to play member guest events.
There you go. So let's dig into Zingtree and some of the things that I think will make this a really exciting episode for people to listen to. When we did your prep session, one of the things we talked about was the move you made from a product-led growth to an enterprise sales motion. And that's become a pretty hot topic among recent podcast guests here and elsewhere, as I think a lot of firms realize that there's perceived efficiency in PLG, but maybe it's outside in, not when you're actually doing it. So can you tell us a little bit about how you recognized the need to move and what it took to move from PLG to enterprise?
Absolutely. And before I jump into that, let me just spend 1 minute on Zingtree. So that way it gives you some context on how we had PLG motion and then decided to go to enterprise. So Zingtree, we're an intelligent automation for customer support. Our platform is used by our customers to build complex workflows that integrate with their enterprise applications to trigger contextually relevant actions, and therefore they can resolve customer support tickets faster. So in a nutshell, we really are a workflow integration actions company that drives automation for customer support. So one of the uniqueness about Zingtree is our workflow, which is a very powerful workflow for complex businesses, is a no-code workflow builder. So what this means is it allows the business users to drive the bus to build workflows versus having IT or someone who's technical, someone who writes code. You don't need those types of folks to build your workflows with Zingtree. So therefore, naturally, we were able to grow organically with the PLG motion. And that's the historical context of Zingtree being in PLG. Customers from around the world came and found Zingtree on their own. Pre-sales was completely self-service. And then once they swiped their credit card and got access to our software, post-sales, it was also self-service. And they were on their own, built their workflows, published their workflows for the customer support agents to take action with, or even the end customers to self-solve and troubleshoot. So that has been how Zingtree had grown. And then we made some decisions to evolve it to an enterprise motion.
So what drove that decision, though? I think the crux is it has to come a point where you're not satisfied with the PLG motion for some reason. So
we were satisfied with the PLG motion. It was actually pretty remarkable to see, acquire hundreds of customers from 50 plus countries that all came and found us on their own, including large enterprise customers that were household name logos like United Health Group, Allianz, Sony, Shark Ninja, Experian, Sage, Intuit. These kinds of companies that are household name logos came and found us on their own So it was actually very successful and things were going well. With that said, being a startup, we needed to focus, and it was hard for us to manage a business that was servicing our customers very well across the board, whether you're a small business, mid-sized business, or large enterprise business. And when we looked at our business as a whole, we were providing value across those three segments, but where we made the most impact were for large enterprise customers. Why? Because we have complex workflows. It allowed us to provide a ton of value for companies that had a ton of complexity. Compliance was critical. Regulatory rules were needed to be followed. They had a ton of data, a ton of systems, and those are normally found in large enterprise customers. And that's where we're making the most impact. So we decided as a business, our product was positioned well to solve for enterprise customers. So we just had to make that transition to package, price, position, distribute our solution in an enterprise manner.
And what changes that demand of your organization? What did you have to do differently?
It was a tough decision, hard decision, a lot of work, because transitioning from PLG to enterprise, it was the right move for us looking back. At the same time, we had to go through a lot of pains. It starts across the board. You have to transition the whole company. It starts with people. We have great people. Some of them are more PLG focused, so we need to bring in more enterprise people. Then it starts with product as well. Your product is built more towards self-service, and we needed to make sure that, this kind of product can be used in the right manner with enterprise. We provide white glove service now. There is no more self-service. We train our enterprise consumers on how to use the product. We support them. We provide them professional services, managed services, what any large enterprise would expect to make it a successful investment for them. And then you have to make changes to how you position, market, and distribute it. So those are all changes we had to make across the board in how we operate the company internally. PLG motion is very different than an enterprise motion. So it was a complete overhaul of the business, and it took us a couple of years to transition. And we still have some PLG DNA internally because that's how the company was born, but we have crossed the chasm towards being a true enterprise solution.
So I think it's really interesting, the timeline for making this move.
Yeah, initially I thought it would be a flip of a switch, but no, it is a long process.
Were there any resources that were available to you to help you plan for this, or did you have to figure it out on your own?
Yes, we have a great board, a great group of advisors, and my teammates. Some of them had enterprise experience, so it was a full team effort. But some stuff, because in the space we were in customer support, CX space, we had to navigate that and figure out what works, what didn't work in that space as we did this transition from PLG to enterprise. So it wasn't all smooth. There was a lot of rocky days and a lot of bumps along the way. But again, looking back, it was the right move. We're making the most impact for our large enterprise customers, and that's our focus.
And just remind us why the enterprise was a better target for you. You talked a little bit about it, but I don't think you maybe shared the whole motivation for making this change.
We're in the customer service, customer support space. So it's very much about how do we provide the best service for our customers. I always tell our team that, yes, you can do a small celebration when you sign a deal, but the real celebration happens when you make real impact for your customers, right? When your customers trust you and they come and say, hey, we're going to sign on the dotted line to do a 1-year, 3-year partnership with Zingtree, that means a lot for us. So we need to deliver value for them. So where do we deliver the most value? Where can we deliver the most impact? And what we found across all our customer base is we provide the most impact for customers that have a ton of complexity in their business. Compliance requirements, regulatory requirements is much needed. They've got a ton of data and knowledge that sits everywhere across the organization. And a lot of these companies are real legit blue chip companies. They've been around for 100 years. They're going to be around for the next 100 years, not going anywhere. They're not like the new fancy companies, like the modern companies like Airbnb or Uber, right? These are companies like Allianz, was founded in 1890. It's been around for 130 years. United Health Group has been around for a long time. And Sony has been around for a long time. Companies like Corpay, which used to be called FleetCor, has been around for a long time. Intuit, right? So these are legitimate large companies, and they tend to have where we make the most impact with our ICP, which is complexity, compliance, ton of systems, ton of data, ton of knowledge. And that's where we can go in and take that information, put it into bite-sized information through our workflow, use our integration to get the relevant context in front of the customer support agents so they can take action, which basically at the end of the day drives automations for our customers.
Sounds good. And thanks for digging in a little there. Impact and economic value transfer, right? They go together. So also they're probably more attractive, right? If you can sell 500 seats versus 5, right? That's a target you can work with. And at the same time, you're creating transformation for the client on the same scale. Let's talk about your prior experience. Like, how did what you had done before prepare you for the role at Zingtree? And also, you knew these founders beforehand. And that's not uncommon, where a CEO will know his or her co-founders before their current companies. Tell me how what you did before prepared you to move into this role. What were you thinking about? What were your concerns, and how's it played out?
Yeah, so throughout my whole professional career, I've been always close to the customer. That's something that I truly enjoy spending time with. A customer is someone who purchases your solution, but it goes beyond that, right? I can learn a ton about the customer. I can learn about their industry. I can learn about what's working for them, what challenges they have. And those kinds of things really intrigue me to continue going in a customer service industry. I've always been at the forefront of what the customer needs and learning about them. So that has always been in my DNA. And then when I got my career started, a lot of the work I was in the digital transformation space. I remember working on projects early on in my career, helping companies, large companies, going from paper to paperless. They were using tools like FileNet, which was acquired by IBM, and SharePoint, and Documentum, and Kofax to help companies that had folders and folders of paper in their office and transform them into digital folders. So those are some of the earlier projects that I did in my tech consulting career. And this is an evolution of that, right? How do you drive better digital experiences for consumers who are purchasing B2C software? My passion for being in front of the customer, my passion and experience and being at the infancy of digital transformation journey, the combination of that. And finally, also I've done a few startups, and I've done some things well and some things poorly. And that learning process motivated me to do this at Zingtree. The two founders that started Zingtree, Tom Mays and Bill Dettering, great guys. I trusted them. Trust is a huge part of running a business. And for me, they were great guys, more importantly, trustworthy, honest people. And those are the type of people I like to do business with. So I think that was really critical for me and important for me to be around people who I can trust, who are honest, who are direct, who don't play games and say it the way it is. And I respect that a lot. And I found that in Bill and Tom.
Yeah, I mean, trust is almost everything, right? So it's a great place to start. Let's go back to Zingtree and the impact on your client organizations. So can you paint the picture of a before and after for us? Like, how do you find the current situation at prospects? Like, what are the situations you often see? And so what does that before and after kind of transformation look like? Because we've talked about the functionality, but I think it would be good to talk about what are people experiencing today versus what their life could be in this business function.
Yeah, so it's a really interesting time to look at this because of everything going on with AI and all the hype and the success there and the potential there. It's all real, right? And how do you navigate that landscape? So it's an interesting time to talk about this. I'll break it out into two ways. One is people have come to Zingtree. I said a lot of customers came to us on their own. So why do they come to us? Especially if you look into our ICP, which is these large enterprise customers, specifically in healthcare, in insurance, and financial services. These are large S&P 500 businesses, and they already have all the latest and greatest tech available to them. And guess what? They haven't had the success they hoped for or the impact they wanted. And that's where they come and search for a solution like Zingtree, something that is simple yet powerful, right? And that's something we hear consistently. So they've been burned by maybe a flashy AI technology, or maybe they thought they can implement it quickly and they are still 8 months in and haven't implemented it. And they just need something that can get up and running in 30 to 60 days, which we do very well, and get some impact within the first 30 to 60 days after going live. Right. So we win a lot of deals that way where they come to us after they've had some challenges and some failures. You wish they came to us even before they end up spending all that money and not have the impact they wanted. We wish they came to us before, but most of the time they come to us after they've gone through some challenges and they look around for a long time and they find us. And that's been one way we've grown. The other way is a little bit more complicated, which is nowadays when companies like, United Healthcare is a customer of ours or Sony is a customer of ours. But if you're a prospect that is not a customer yet of Zingtree, you're probably looking at 20 to 30 companies because there's a lot of different ways to get a hold of the buyer now, not just cold call and email, through LinkedIn, through personalized messaging, through conferences, through events, through partnerships. So these buyers are, me as a vendor and a partner, I'm super confused because Zingtree sounds like everyone else in the market and everyone else in the market sounds like Zingtree. But it's even more challenging for these buyers because everyone sounds the same. And so it is hard to talk to a prospect, get them to really understand truly who you are, right? Because everyone else is saying the same thing. Some people might be saying it with full integrity and honesty and it's accurate. And some of that, unfortunately, is also a lot of vaporware. So really, it puts the onus on the buyers to dig in deeper, to keep these vendors honest and see, hey, what are you good at? And they may say they can do it all, but they may be good at really one niche area. So how do you figure that out and how do you use that to get the most out of it? So it's a challenging time if you're a buyer to figure out who do you partner with in helping you improve your customer experience.
We didn't talk about this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. I'm wondering what your experience is with customer review sites like the Capterras, the G2s, Trust Radius. Do you see that playing into decision-making in your customer base?
Sure, I think it helps. These are all real businesses, so I respect them. And of course, I respect Gartner and Forrester. But at the same time, it's always like, it's hard because guess what? There is an element of pay to play. You pay to get better reviews. You pay to get Gartner to put you on the Magic Quadrant. I've seen that. You pay Forrester to get you like a speaking slot at one of the biggest conferences about being a top-notch customer service business. So it's hard, right? And I'm sure the people there are working hard to vet out these vendors as well. And I'm sure that's part of their process. But it's interesting, right? It's interesting to see that landscape. You got to play that game a little bit. But at the same time, I think it really comes down to the buyers. The buyers have to do their diligence much more detailed oriented than ever before. It really comes down to the buyers because it's the buyers that are spending $500,000, million, $2 million, 6 months, 12 months of their time implementing. And who do I want to be in business with? Are these people trustworthy? Is this the partner I want to work with when I have challenges on the weekends? Are they going to be responsive? Or is their product going to do what they say that it's going to do? Vetting that out. So yes, you may have G2 reviews to look at. You may have a Gartner analyst to give you some intel. But my ask to the buyers community is be really hard on your vendors, including Zingtree. Put us to the ringer and make sure that you're getting a partnership with someone that checks all the boxes from a personality and dependability standpoint, but also from a product and solution standpoint.
So it's the put us to the test challenge, right?
100%, because it's sad when I run into a lot of customers who have been burned. And I see that over and over again. They've been burned. They said, hey, this AI solution looked amazing. We like the team. They're super smart. It was flashy, but man, it's 8 months in, I still haven't implemented it. I'm running into challenges. I'm running into roadblocks, right? And especially for the type of customers we work with in this complex regulatory environment, especially in healthcare, insurance, financial services, large consumer product companies, AI solutions, yes, it's definitely doable and can work really well, but it's not magic. You can't just flip the switch and think AI is going to solve it all. So a lot of them have been burned by that in the past, and it's unfortunate.
It is. But hey, you mentioned AI. Tell me what the role is of AI in your product as it exists today, and what's the near-term future?
Yeah, so we have AI in different ways. We actually help you also build a foundation layer to help you successfully implement AI at scale. So what does that mean? What do you need for AI to work well for large enterprises? You need clean data. You need the right workflows. You need to be able to take those workflows and train those workflows to be more accurate. And with clean data and the right workflows, you're able to do those things. So what does Zingtree do? It takes all your knowledge, all your data from your organization, puts us into bite-sized information into workflows that the organization can manage and monitor. So by using Zingtree, you already have much cleaner data than you had before. So you're in a better position to implement Zingtree's AI or any other third-party AI solution on top of Zingtree's foundation layer or orchestration layer. So that's one of the things that we have been doing that actually helps our customers be in a better position to implement AI successfully. From Zingtree's point of view, where does our AI come in? It is all surrounded through our workflow. So when an agent is in a workflow, identifying, resolving customer issue, as they go through the workflow, the next best actions on what next steps to take to resolve a customer issue, if they get stuck, they can search for the right information, either through the workflow or any other information that is in the organization. And the search bar is right in the workflow. And this is AI semantic search. We allow them to search the data throughout the organization and pull the relevant information in front of them. From there, once the context is surfaced up in the workflow, the agents can take an action with the click of a button to help resolve that issue, right? So that is where our AI is. We're now getting into the ability of looking at all these workflows and how do you automate some of these workflows. We're also looking at some other AI solutions in the near term, which is exciting for us to go into some specific use cases. We've got a lot of energy around medical scheduling. It's a very complicated situation, how to schedule a patient or reschedule a patient. So building some solutions around that, which will help us provide much better AI solutions for those specific use cases, is some of the areas where we're focused on.
That's cool. Yeah, so it's very pragmatic, right? It's using the AI to make what you do even smarter as opposed to trying to go beyond your core functionality. So a little while ago, you talked about differentiation and that it's become a very noisy channel. Besides the gauntlet being thrown down, what else are you guys doing to help Zingtree stand out among a field of competitors?
Yeah, it's a hot topic for us internally at Zingtree. And I think we're going to take the position of being loud, honest, and aggressive. The good thing that we have going is we've got some of the biggest companies in the world that are customers of Zingtree. So we need to articulate why they are our customers and also need to call people out. There's a lot of companies that say, hey, we can get this up and running in 3 months, 6 months. Yes, you can for maybe a simple business or maybe a more recent modern business. But can you do that for a company that's been around for 50 years, for 100 years, right? Show that to me. So I think we're going to be much more louder on LinkedIn, on social media. I'm stating the facts and having some competitive discussions, calling vendors out and having healthy competition, I think is always good. So I think we're going to take that stance to differentiate ourselves. And hopefully in the end, it helps all the vendors lift their game. And in the end of the day, it helps the customers have a better experience.
So being loud and proud makes some sense here. Is there, and you've been able to name your customers here on the podcast, are the customers helping you like with testimonials and things like that?
Sure. The customers help us with testimonials. We have a lot of our top customers are reference customers as well. So they've been great. They've been great customers. They also push us. We always tell them to push us. We're not perfect. We do some things well, some things we're learning, and our customers make us better as well. So we push our customers to not just take our solution the way it is, but also push us to keep getting better. So it's a two-way street.
You've talked a lot about current customers, and sometimes these folks move on, right? They go from Coca-Cola to Nestle. Have you been able to follow your customers from one experience to another? And if so, how are you managing to do that? What's the thinking and process there?
Yeah, so we've been very fortunate on that front. And that gives us the confidence to know that our product works. When customers move on to a different company, one of the first tools they implement is Zingtree because they know how easy it is to implement. And within 60 to 90 days on the job, they can show their boss and their team the quick impact, the positive impact they can make for the organization. So Zingtree ends up being the first tool a lot of times that they implement when they take a new job. And this has happened many times. I can talk for hours on just giving examples of people that left company A, went to company B. For example, there's a gentleman named Mike Jennings who was at Experian. He left Experian after 7-8 years, went to a company called Corpay. The first tool he implemented was Zingtree. And now Zingtree is used all over Experian still, and now all over Corpay. We have that same experience with a lady named Monica who was at August Home. She used Zingtree from the early days when Zingtree was founded. She left Zingtree, went to Tempo. The first tool she implemented at Tempo was Zingtree. Then she left Tempo, went to Coho Financial. The first tool she implemented, Coho, was Zingtree. So that happens a ton. It, again, gives us the confidence to be loud. And I know you used the word proud. Yes, we're proud. But more importantly, we want to make a statement out there to provide better service to consumers. There's a situation in the industry where even with all this technology available and dollars spent, consumers still have a poor experience. Majority of consumers have a poor experience, whether it's through calling or through a chatbot. Why is that? And we want to change that. And the way we can change that is keeping ourselves honest and keeping the industry honest. Because when you're spending money with Zingtree, we need to deliver for you. When you're spending money with this other company, they should deliver for you. And are they? Why isn't this chatbot working? Why isn't this solution working? So we need to call people out. And that's something that I take personally. And so it really is an interesting time in the space to be aggressive in this manner. With the success that we've had, it puts us in a position to be aggressive and take that charge.
Yeah, that's great. I think it's really great to be able to follow your customers from career spot to career spot as they make changes.
The cool thing to see, Ken, is also when they move, they're moving up the food chain as well within the organization, or they've moved within their organization. They started out as a call center manager, and now they're VP, SVP of the customer experience team. So it's also cool to see like someone who's using a software, they're getting success by implementing your software, and then they keep getting promoted. And that's fun to see.
Yeah, so it's not just customer success, it's client success, right? You're making your customers successful. One last thing I want to talk about was that a lot of opportunities in the enterprise are lost to no decision. People don't make a choice. And the estimates range from 40 to 60% of deals don't close because of no decision. So I'm wondering what your experience at Zingtree is with the no decision, and what are you doing to address that? How are you trying to reduce the number of no decision closed lost deals?
Yeah, it's like I said, it's a tough situation for these buyers, right? I mean, sometimes they're evaluating 20 to 30 tools. So imagine putting yourself in their shoes. It's a tough time for them. So we respect that, right? We're not the ones who are pushing and saying, hey, you need to get this deal signed now. So we respect the situation they're in. I think our job is to educate them as much as we can. Our job is to connect them with our existing customers so they can talk to our customers and get confidence about the solution they can get from Zingtree. And it's also our job to push them to evaluate everyone thoroughly, right? Not just Zingtree. Talk to these other 5 companies and check them out. We've sent some competitors and people in the market to our prospects. You should be talking to all these folks and see what's the right solution. Because like I said, for us, a win is not signing a new contract. That's just a start. A win is when we spend 6 months, 1 year with them and we made a real impact. And if we don't make that impact, not only is it a loss for them, it's a loss for us in the business that we're in, right? We don't want to sign a customer and they churn after 6 months. So we try to actually do a lot upfront to really even see if this is a good fit for Zingtree. Is this a good customer for us to work with, spend time with? And so I think these buyers, there are a lot of no decisions, and especially now that is risen with all these different AI solutions that are being thrown at them, including Zingtree. So I think you just have to stay patient and keep educating them, connecting them. For us, is connecting them with our customers and giving them intelligence about what is happening in the market and with other vendors. What are they good at? What are the challenges that they face? And just being a good sounding consulting expert for them in how to improve customer experience. And then from there, the ones that are the right fit will, surface up to work with you.
That's a great way to approach your business and a really fine place to land our episode. I want to say thanks so much. This was a great conversation. If people want to learn more about Zingtree or get in touch with you, Juan, how do they do that?
They can email me directly at juan@zingtree.com, JUAN@zingtree.com, or on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm going to get more active on LinkedIn. And Zingtree is also on LinkedIn, or www.zingtree.com on our website. And there's a button to get a demo, and you'll talk to someone on our team.
Awesome. Thank you. If you want to reach me, I'm on LinkedIn/in/Ken Lempit. My demand generation agency for SaaS firms is Austin Lawrence Group. We're at austinlawrence.com. That's Lawrence with a W. And if you haven't subscribed to the SaaS Backwards podcast, please do so wherever you get your podcasts. Hey, Juan, thanks so much for being on SaaS Backwards.
Thanks, Ken. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure. Talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to the SaaS Backwards Podcast, brought to you by Austin Lawrence Group. We're a growth marketing agency that helps SaaS firms reduce churn, accelerate sales, and generate demand. Learn more about us at www.austinlawrence.com. You can email Ken Lempet at kl@austinlawrence.com about any SaaS marketing or customer retention subject. We hope you'll subscribe, and thanks again for listening.